This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we're working on a Whirlpool top-loading washing machine. This is a direct drive series 70, 80, or 90. And when we put it to spin, we can hear it humming, but it won't spin. The spin basket doesn't move. We just hear the motor humming. And this is due to something being caught in the water pump, usually a sock or something like that. So we're going to clear it out. There's a lot of water still in the tub. So if you have a clamp, you can clamp off the drain hose, or if you don't, you should try to get all that water out by using like a cup. I'm just checking it out again here. I got it set for spin. I pulled out the dial and pushing in on the lid switch, and I just get a humming sound. If I grab the spin basket and push it a little bit, it does move. You can tell the motor's trying to move it, but it's jammed up, and that's again due to something being caught in the water pump. So we're going to unplug it. We're going to take off the top console. We just pull these trim pieces off on the right and left side, just pull them directly towards you. And you have to remove 2 Phillips head screws. They're kind of weird. They're in at a 45-degree angle in the lower left and lower right-hand corner of the console. And once you spin those out, you can grab the whole console and you can tilt it up and get it out of the way. It's pretty cool. It hinges at the top. It has little things called dog ears that hold it into the cabinet, but you can just pull it towards you and lift and it'll release. And now we have to unhook this little switch here. This is the lid switch assembly. We take a standard head screwdriver and pry up on these brass clips. This comes apart really cool, really fast. And now you can actually grab the whole cabinet and pull it towards you. Grab it from the front and lift it at an angle and just pull it out away. And that'll give you access to a lot of the components on the direct drive machine. The one we need to get to is the water pump, which is located right here in the front. I'm putting a clamp on the upper hose. That brings water from the tub down to the pump, and that'll just keep water from draining out. If you don't have a clamp, you can just, again, get the water out with a cup so less of it spills. Take a standard head screwdriver to remove the pump. First, though, I'll use just regular pliers to press in on these hose clamps. I'm going to remove the bottom one first, then I'll pull the hose off. And even though I've clamped it, some water is going to come out, so it'd be good to have a towel down there to catch the water. It's just the water inside the drain line. And now I'm going to remove the upper one. Same thing, I'll clamp it, loosen it, pull it off of the hose. Sometimes these hoses are kind of stuck, but if you take a standard head screwdriver and just pry it in between the pump and the hose, you can loosen it, and then you can get that hose off. Again, a little bit of water will come out. If you don't have a clamp, a ton of water will come out, and you don't want that. So it's good to get all that water out first. So now I'm just prying up on these little spring clips, and then that whole pump's going to come right off. Really easy. This is a super clever design. And I look in there and I can tell something's caught in the impeller, the thing that spins, the part of the pump that creates the water pressure. And I'm going to use a standard head screwdriver to kind of pull it out. It looks like it's probably a nylon pantyhose or maybe like a nylon sock. So I'm just grabbing that and pulling on it to try to get out as much of this junk as I can. If you have needle nose pliers, that'll work really good for getting that stuff out. These vice grip ones are a little too thick, so I'm going to use some skinnier ones. I'm just going to grab and then pull, and I'll keep doing that until I get all that stuff out. The way to avoid this from happening is just to put these little things like small underwear or bras or something like this, like a nylon, in a nylon zip bag that are designed to hold these fragile things, and then they can't get pulled into the pump. So we got that out, and I'm just spinning the impeller to make sure it can move freely. So it looks great. So the impeller's not damaged. These are really tough. You just had something caught in there. So now I'm just going to reinstall it. I'm going to line up the shaft of the motor to fit inside the pump. Get that all lined up. and I'll just push it back in. I'll put the clips back on. They're really cool. They're just spring-loaded, easy to do. Put the hoses back on, and then we should be good to go. These are some of my very favorite type of washing machines to work on. They're so cleverly put together, and they last a long time. I had one in my house that lasted 22 years. So I'm putting that hose clamp back on. Here's the bottom. Hose goes back on. Put the hose clamp, grab it with your pliers, pull it towards you. Make sure those are on tight. I'm going to release the clamp. Make sure you remove the clamp before you put it back together. Otherwise it won't work. And now we're going to slide the cabinet back in. We just lift it up. Open. I usually lift the lid up so I can get a grip on it. And then I put it in at about 45-degree angles. I put the bottom lip of the cabinet up against the metal frame, push it in as far as I can go, and then I let it just settle back to a level position. I'm going to lift up on the console to get it out of the way. So I'm letting that cabinet just sit back in there, and I'll put the clips back on. They just slip in underneath the back plate, and then you push them down really hard and they just lock in. Really clever design. Never seen this on any other type of machine. It goes in, clips down, and it locks it in really well. You got to make sure you put your lid switch connector back in, this little modular connector. Otherwise it won't start. We're going to put the console back down. We're going to get the little dog ears to fit into the cabinet. And we'll put those two Phillips head screws back in at about 45 degrees. Kind of long screws. I wish they still made this machine, but I guess it was lasting too long, so Whirlpool decided not to make them anymore. They're really easy to work on, really, really well engineered. So we're going to put these clips back on, the trim plates. They just snap on really easy. We'll plug it in, give it a test, set it for spin, pull it on the dial. Yeah, now we can hear it draining. That's great, all done. So thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance.